Welcome, 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 Adriane, your quantum love coach. Today, calling out from beautiful, very exciting Sydney, Australia. November is a very interesting month here in Australia. The weather is already pretty hot and there's lots of wind, and actually Australia is dealing, particularly this part of Australia, the east coast up to Queensland from here, is dealing with a lot of bushfires. So there's this heat, there's this wind, there's a little bit of a dusty and a dark smell in the air. It's nearly a little bit unbearable going outside because one can really sense the intensity of what is going on in the backland of this beautiful city. And up the coast along, even up to Queensland, there is lots and lots and lots of emergency situations right now. So I feel quite privileged to be here at this time because, you know, not always it's easy to manage for people when external situations are offering some challenges. So to be available for, the love and the beauty and the dance and the reflection on life. And I feel really blessed that I do know in Sydney a number of people who really care deeply about my work and also about their very own relationships. So I'm feeling blessed to be here for only 2 days, and tonight is a full moon. Here in Sydney it will be around 12:30 a.m. I know Bali time it will be probably around 3:30, 4:30, and I think New Zealand is already having it still on today, on the actual Tuesday, on the night today of the 11th November. So there's a double whooper energy for me personally. There's the 1111 gate, and it's 19, so it's 219. It's actually another interesting enough, another 11 energy in itself. It's a 12 actually, but it carries some sort of the completion of an 11 year. Now I'm a Taurus. For me, this full moon tonight will be very pivotal. And I want to be really honest, since my last recording, which wasn't my last recording, but the last recording where I included a reading that was some sort of more inspirational. I think I talked about, the darker secrets and the secrets of the Scorpio energy, which was very, very, very pivotal and alive 2 weeks ago when we had new moon in Scorpio, and today it's a full moon in Taurus, which is my sign. And I want to dedicate this reading, this reflection of today's energy to the beauty of dating, the beauty of being a lover in transit, the beauty of being on our search for manifesting love relationships we absolutely desire and adore and want to bring into manifestation. For me, in my very own love life, a lot of completions happened in the last 2 weeks, really very strongly with a relationship I had for most of this year with someone on long distance, and it's really decided that we are staying friends. And in the midst of all my very own divorce after 13 years of relationship with a very beautiful man I really loved very much has become legal. It's only 5 days ago that this happened, or 4 days ago. And a post I created on my very own Facebook page, which I actually added and shared also on my Facebook Love Coach pages, basically a letter to the divine and a letter to my ex-husband to be appreciative and thankful for the learnings, the lessons, and the wisdom I have gained in the process of going through a separation, which I was very, very, very resistant to go to at first. And now I see the benefits. Now I can see it, And sometimes even 2 weeks ago, when I think about the energy we had in the ether, of the new moon in Scorpio and what happened, I talked to some Indian and Indian-related people who are very, very strongly celebrating Diwali. So Diwali was last weekend, was a very, very important celebration for many people, in this culture. We have Hindus, of course, in Bali. So for them, it wasn't so much about Diwali. It was more about the very, very, very beautiful time in this year, which carries so much love, beauty, and aspiration for love and for relationship to flourish. So there were lots of weddings on, in the astrological calendar for Bali. It was, last week was just crazy, wherever you drive the streets, and in every corner you saw a wedding ceremony or couple sitting in a beautiful decorated car, or signs outside of properties where people were invited, the locals were invited to come in and celebrate with the couple very, very powerfully. Now, I travel, and Bali is more or less now my home, and I made also in this phase in the last 2 weeks the decision to really ground myself in Bali more strongly over the next 6 months. It has been a big decision for me to do that, because the invitations to do work more regularly, and particularly here in Australia, is really, really big. There is lots of projects I would like to bring into motion in the longer in the longer vision of things. But there is still this awareness that I myself go through big changes, and I haven't myself recently manifested a love relationship again. That gives me the sense of, now I have to have the agreement with a new partner how life will go. So I carry the enormous privilege being this flying love coach who is coming online whenever she feels it's the right time, and I coach all over the world at every hour of the night and the day. And may it be Germany, may it be America, may it be Australia, may it be Bali. In Bali myself, I had a huge success with a very beautiful story I will share in an extra video very soon with one of my female clients. She is Indonesian, and she went through a very short-term, very intense process of divorce, and she gained all the rights to hold her kids in her care, which is absolutely impossible, a total miracle to happen in Bali, in Indonesia. Women have no rights to even ask for separation. It's too dangerous to be excluded from families, to lose children who by tradition belong to the father's home, to the father's temple, and to the father's family. And a lot of mothers-in-law, take on the raising of their grandchildren, because men and women do not want to stay married. And if there is a situation, then, that is simply what the woman does, because she feels such urge to change her life and to be happy and to become safer and more, grounded in her very own self. So that a lot of, more modern Balinese women fight the fight very, very deeply. So I'm involved in discussions with quite a few women over there, and I have the success story of one particular person who's very close to me, who made it, who just was absolutely able in only 6 weeks of divorce process with a very good lawyer to have the custody of her children, to gain all the financial benefits for the children, and to be given absolute freedom from a marriage that has been not very, very supportive and in alignment with her life anymore. So it is a very, very amazing time. We have Mercury retrograde. A lot of people tell me, I'm doing what I wanted to do 3 months or 5 months ago. I'm looking at things I had forgotten. I had these ideas, and suddenly my creative mind is coming back and bring it all into motion. And what's going on? Why is this so intense? And I guess, the beauty of the dating and the transition process is really a sense of beauty. And I want to bring this out today, because when we go through Scorpio energy, when we go to retrograde energy, a lot of dark and very, very unwanted things are shown to us at times. And I feel that there is a kind of a mystery about our perception and I talked about darkness twice in channelings over the last 6 weeks in the equinox one, and it came back, the same card came back 2 weeks ago, and new moon in Scorpio did arise. And I just took a beautiful queen of the moon oracle card. It's a deck I'm actually now traveling with. I keep my other decks in Bali, but the wonderful card that appears today is attraction. And isn't that amazing? Because that is the theme I was just talking about, wanting to bring in the beauty of, allowing us to let new people come into our life. What are we actually celebrating in the beauty, in the sweetness, and the niceness, and the wantedness of the process? So attraction is something incredibly powerful. I mean, it's related to the supermoon. As far as I know, this new moon and now this full moon tonight is a supermoon. So it somehow feels very potent. It is a full moon that speaks. And yes, for me, attraction energy is really out there in my very own life. There have been wonderful, things coming into my life, not just with beautiful, men. I made connection recently, or even just today, this morning, I had a conversation with a new friend. Was a little hesitant to start the conversation, but it started really very effortlessly. He was very persistent in meeting me here in Sydney, and we haven't managed to get the time right because I was busy this morning, he is busy this afternoon, and I decided, no, I'm not getting in any way impatient about it. I am in the moment. Today is this amazing energy of full moon in Taurus, and it is my sun sign, and I guess the beautiful reflection of my sun to this full moon, and the attraction of what I can bring into my life and how it will unfold is totally unique, is totally, in a way, not just unique to me but God-given. And this is really the energy I want to talk about as well. I had yesterday, with the friend who lives in this beautiful penthouse here in Sydney. I'm guest, and I have the privilege to be guest in a very, very beautiful apartment overlooking Bellevue Hill, and with the view down to Bondi and Bondi Beach. And it's like a little bit like Sydney dream spot when you think about living in Sydney and you want to have the water, and yet you love the architectural diversity of an Australian, city like this. So it's a wonderful spot. So, however, she was saying yesterday, look, I really enjoyed your Tinder post, your YouTube. There's so much interesting to learn from, and I want to deepen this. I want to learn even more. So I will promise you, once we close this reading and I'm settled in Bali again and I have more time to focus on, following up on particular messages and readings from previous recordings, I will certainly do that. For now, this week I'm traveling. I will be in New Zealand tomorrow afternoon. Have some very interesting and important things to finalize there and get ready for probably 6 straight months in Bali and Australia, and not coming home before May. But this is all subject to change, because the way I live and the way my life is unfolding. So I'm not saying this in a kind of challenging way. I feel it's just the decision I have made about my own life. And I think the beauty of a lover's journey is that the power is in your hand. And here I'm just going into the tarot, and the tarot card for this reading is the Queen of Swords. It's really a very powerful card, because it has the feminine energy, it has the beauty energy, but here she is, this queen. And I mean, that particular tarot doesn't even show it in a very, very feminine way. It looks actually very masculine. For me, this face is more a masculine face than really a feminine face. But this card appears quite often in readings to male and masculine energies I'm doing at the moment privately, and I can see that there is a mental energy that is attached to this Queen of Swords that really says, this is it, I can finalize anything I want, I can say goodbye to anything I don't want to be involved anymore. The persons, the beliefs, the structures, the way of how I design my life, how I want to be really the person I am. And another conversation this morning with a very, very, very dear friend in New Zealand. She is very talented musically, and she has so much to give, and she gives a lot in her area, in her field of expertise. And yet there is this one last jump to free herself from this kind of ideas that, you know, the teaching is better than the performing, or I can only do this at home because New Zealand is safe for me. I cannot travel because, and suddenly she feels her soul is screaming, there's something coming out and wants to play. So ultimately, this is really the message of my day today, that I greet you with all my love from Sydney, Australia, and I wish you in this beauty of this full moon in Taurus energy that is arising overnight, and the day is already flaming. I mean, it's out there here in Australia, it's burning hot, the air is hot. It's equally hot like in Bali, but it's a different air, and it's a different, you know, something where you, when you think about taking a thought, you can cut through the air. It's very dense, it's very thick. And in Bali, luckily, when we are close to the ocean, unless fires are, you know, performed in the villages, we have this wonderful opportunity to be, you know, at the ocean and have fresh air and feel, you know, a lushness and an ease, and being outside the bigger capitals of Balinese towns, or, you know, Denpasar or Singaraja, or these places people go to do business and go shopping and, you know, deal with visas and do what tourists do when they decide to be gypsies and stay in Bali longer than just for a holiday. And there are many of us who do this at the moment, and it's interesting to meet these people because a lot of them come with a very, very powerful message, with a very powerful purpose, and also with a kind of intention in mind to give back to Bali and to give back to this beautiful land and to these beautiful people who really, really, you know, attract many, many newcomers with their love, with their sweetness, with their beauty of mind and heart. And this is really the card of this day. You know, it's the attraction energy, it's the super moon, the full moon, this dynamic moon energy that holds something so precious and so beautiful for us. So I wish you an amazing you know, ecliptic moment of liberation over the next 24 hours. I feel, you know, keep smiling, keep, you know, looking for the things and doing the things that make you happy. If there's fear, then face the fear, but don't go into it in a dramatic way. Face it and then say, okay, what if I take my focus away and put my focus on what I really want to attract? Because the real belief is what we think, what we feel, and the energy in which we are residing is attracting what is really, really happening and manifesting in our lives. So if we do what we are happy about, if we want to be with people who make us happy, if we want to do the things and the contributions to the world and to life that create happiness in our very own heart and soul, then I suggest, you know, do some soul searching, do the journaling, do the inner, you know, process of cutting some old metaphors away, and be this queen of thought, warrior, this lover in transit who holds a strong intent for it to be the way it's absolutely destined to be. And as I said before in other recordings, you can have anything you want. You can manifest anything you want. It's just a matter of really staying very diligently, quietly, content and patiently in that energy and being happy in it, and not making it so much about, you know, the results have to come fast. If I don't see it, it's not there. No, it's all here. We can do it. We can really do it. And sometimes in not feeling 100% in one day, in 1 week, in a situation, in a relationship, is also an opportunity to just hold and breathe and reflect on what is really, really going on. And it gives us lessons we want to really, really experience, because this way we ultimately gain the wisdom to create later in the next relationship or in the elevated stage of a relationship what we absolutely know is right and valid for us. Wonderful, beautiful, amazing, lovely, sweet moments with those you love, and enjoy the light and the darkness of this beautiful moonlight coming up over the next 24 hours. Namaste, your quantum love coach Adriane from Sydney. Please subscribe to my channel, connect with me via my homepage. There is a link to book a discovery session, which is my gift to you. And ultimately, if you have any questions about any events, about anything I offer, to read on my website, email me or text me or go on WhatsApp and stay in touch. I love to connect with you one-to-one and in person. Thank you so much. Namaste.